Okay, hi everyone. It is March 6, 2023, and today I'm going to be discussing a cashless society in our lifetimes. It's a deep dive on Square, Alibaba, and yes, Globe Telecom. So I won't be able to finish this in an hour. I would basically perhaps give you a part one. I think there's going to be a part two or part three. Anyway, I'm going to I don't have a class this Friday, so I figured, all right, I'll just StreamYard this instead of just sharing it to Awesome 10X members only. Okay, so wait up, let me share the entire discussion. Okay, so I entitled today's topic "A Cashless Society in Our Lifetimes." This is going to be a fundamental category, fintech. So I'll be discussing Square, aka now known as Block, as it's but the biggest core transaction businesses are Square and Cashapp. In Alibaba Group, of course, there's a ton of things to discuss on Alibaba, but we will ultimately just discuss about Ant Financial's Alipay for this topic. And then for Globe, we'll only be discussing Gcash here. I'm not going to be discussing Globe Telecom or anything of that matter. We will be discussing solely on the fintech space. Okay. All right. So financial inclusion is something that all of them aspire and are mission oriented to do. And that is basically providing banking services to the unbanked, which are basically billions of people. So, a few things that I am impressed about obviously, continued network growth despite any inflation. So, their business is, in my view, a quick compounder and is an inflationary hedge. I also believe that the business model is very great on how well it scales, handling incremental transactions. Take note that I should explain that Visa and MasterCard are also doing this. So is PayPal. So does WeChat Pay. By me not mentioning any of them doesn't mean that I do not like them. In fact, a lot of payment business models are basically very good, and I simply wanted to highlight some of my favorites. But this shouldn't. This doesn't mean that I say no to companies like Stone Co, Mercado Pago of Mercado Libre, of course Paymaya of PLDT, and 10 cents we pay, 10 cents WeChat Pay. So in general, payment systems as a whole, we're looking mostly in their operating margins, gross. I mean, yes, we look at the total payment volume, their gross margins, their operating margins, their net profit margin, and ultimately their free cash flows, as well as their total market for payment flows and estimates on them. So, a few things. One of the explanations that I really, really love about the businesses of payments, which is not simply related to having a digital wallet, is the flywheel effect. So, for Ant Financial, we can clearly see that although payments is a big part, they've expanded in several services, such as providing credit, investment products, insurance products, and so many other innovations that it has become a total super app. So once you dominate payments and user base, expanding to secondary products, increasing that daily utility amongst your users, may it be a billion users, over a billion users in China for Ant Financial, over over 200 million. I would check again for the metrics for the Square's Cash App. No, sorry, it's not yet 200 million for Square. I think it's over 50 million. For that's for America. Globe, for Gcash, we're already hitting about 76 million user base as of their latest counts. Okay. So it is a very wonderful business and profitability at scale, because once you expand to secondary products such as offering stock trading, crypto way trading, trading or investing, buying savings mutual market funds, money market funds like Vanguard, Fidelity, or whatever other products that Schwab provides, etc. They increase your operating margins and your net profit margins at negligible, almost zero costs. Okay, so let's take a look at the evolution of Square, aka now known as Block. So you could see that in 2010, they just simply started with a very simple business, which is just QR code readers. It was Square Reader Payments. There was just Square. That's why the name was Square. It was all about helping sellers, helping them get payments on offline and online. So offline, actually, they started with offline. Then they went public in 2015. They expanded all of these with a more fulsome product set, allowing sellers to start, run, and grow their businesses. So they obviously went towards point of sale, Square Loyalty, Square Directory. They went into Canada, Square Stands, Japan, Square Loans, Square Invoices. In just 5 years, Square basically added a ton of management expertise, a ton of products, and basically grew into what it is in 2015, a very, very good leader already. Peer-to-peer payments, cash for business, growing out of almost like a startup to now a compelling business entity in the financial space. Though they've grown their ecosystems, you could see that in this slide came from Square itself, aka Block itself. I still call them Square, but yeah, definitely they're Block because as Jack Dorsey said, they're more than just Square. In fact, Cashapp is so huge that Cashapp's gross profit is now larger than Square even. So they added peer-to-peer payments, cash for businesses. They've expanded territories. They went into Australia, UK. They've gone into adding more Square for restaurants, Square installments, Square terminals. You could see just by the number of products that they've added over just a decade, it's very impressive how they've integrated Bitcoin trading, Bitcoin peer-to-peer, how you could even just save $1. A lot of these are Lightning payments, Bitcoin Lightning transactions. All of that are integrated within Cashapp. You could see that they did their growth and managed it without losing a ton of money. In fact, their gross profits have swelled over the past 5 years, 2017 to 2021. They still managed to do this in 2022 full year numbers. In fact, their gross profits right now for 2022 is $6 billion. So they continue to grow, actually 50% gross profit. These slides were actually taken in the previous annual reports, but I could go in deeper and discuss Square as a business or Block as a business in more slides. But I just wanted to give you guys like a preview of what my fundamental secular winners are, okay? So as you could see, Cashapp was once just a $47 million, and then 195, 458, 1.2, 2 billion. Amazing growth. And then Square continued to grow all the way, and corporate and other emerging initiatives were also growing. This is a very, very strong business at scale. One of the things that I also really liked when CFO Amrit discussed the full year 2022 numbers, or in the recent 4Q 22, was the increasing daily utility across the financial services app. That was the most important thing in Square Financials. And I would say to anyone checking any fintech app, a business is only so powerful when you have that metric, when more users are using your app products. Wait up, guys. Let me stop you right here first. I just need to oh wait. While I'm gonna get something, please watch this commercial in case you haven't. I'm gonna be discussing also Gcash. This is a recent story which is based on real life. Watch this. 2 minutes. 3 minutes.
Today in Mindanao, thousands of workers have lost their jobs due to unending pandemic lockdowns. According to the Labor Department, this trend may be expected to continue nationwide, with an estimated 4.6 million Filipino workers to be affected by the end of the year. Sectors most hit by the economic downturn
Natangtang ko sa trabaho, ma.
support, accommodation, and construction. A source from the Labor Department has disclosed that this is the worst unemployment rate.
Iluma ni Kukoy.
Pero dili naman diyan na siya matulog. Sige na cellphone.
Dong, musta na?
Uy, ito siya! Last na siya! Kailangan na lungkot.
Dong, mata na.
siya nga kung gusto suwayan.
Kaya jud na nimo dong. Dong,
Ma, tanawa. Kumaya na gudano yun. Sige na, good. Cheers!
musta na? Dami ba?
Dami! Cheers! Sabong Mexican coffee.
Dong, mata na. First day nimo karon.
Nindot pagkahimo sa imong bike. Exciting to dong, ha?
Kuya, ako sa diri.
Salamat, ma.
Nagsalig jud ko nimo dong.
Today, guys, we're gonna be discussing a few important people that have allowed Sir Cocoy Rubio to basically come back very, very fast from the pandemic. And that was actually providing Gcash loans. So for those who aren't in the know, Globe actually has become a financial supermarket of the Philippines. When you say you are a financial supermarket, to put it succinctly, you are not a digital bank, you are a platform or a Philippine super app because you are cross-selling multiple banking products. These credits and loans will still accrue to banks, whether it be BPI, BDO, or whoever the partner is. They are simply a very large distributor to users, which are now swelling over 76 million users. And whether it be a Gcash, a Gloan, a Gcredit, a Gsave, or a Ginvest, all of these are cross-selling multiple banking products to serve as the financial super app of the Philippines. So you can actually avail of thousands of partners in one single app. Globe Telecom, who is the basically investor of Gcash or Mint Financial, isn't taking the credit risks. It's all accruing towards the bank partners, similar actually to the business model of Ant Financial and Pay. A few data for us to go through. A few things, guys. So they stand out in Southeast Asia, unicorns, for mobile payments. So as you can see a while ago, we saw Square start from payments and then expand to multiple offerings. This is also the same that happened towards Alipay and financial. You start with payments, it was still just sellers and buyers, and then grew towards more like UEPAO and other products. So Mint subsidiary providing cash services, Gcash services. Globe created Mint in 2017 in partnership with Ant Financial and Filipino conglomerate Ayala with the aim of increasing financial inclusion, modernizing payment services. By late 2021, Mint was valued at $2 billion, becoming the country's first tech unicorn. This is a startup worth more than $1 billion. Now, I wouldn't call them a startup, obviously. They're unicorns. So from this, they said that as of this September 30, 2022, although the more recent data right now is more than 76 million, they've got more than 76 million registered users, now more than 5.5 million merchants, and gross transaction value is actually now at least 5 trillion pesos. 5 trillion pesos is approximately about $90 billion, and that's huge. They actually were just a few months ago, they were just like less than that. Wait up. Stop lang. How do you pause this? Stop screen. Wait up. Give me a minute first, huh? Teka. So digital payments worldwide actually grew, not just in the Philippines, not just in China, but basically worldwide. But specifically for the Philippines, the company Gcash is a double unicorn, which means basically it's $2 billion. There's a lot of stories to discuss, and the company maintains that digital banking license is not a silver bullet. And they said that even without the license, they're already able to offer a full suite of financial services such as savings, investment, insurance, credit, and loans, making it accessible and affordable and easy to understand for all Filipinos, like what you've seen in Kokoy's story a while ago. So we believe that customers have varying needs, and that's why we are providing options through having different bank partners offering various propositions. So let's say this bank offers 5% interest, the other bank offers 10% interest, and so on. So basically, they're partnering with all the banks. That's basically what a financial supermarket app is. Okay, so this was in 2020, wherein basically Gcash dominated in almost all the active users. And then actually it was second demotion by in 2023 by the same app Annie. There's a lot of business data metrics that you can check out. But a few things that stand out is I think you guys have to understand a few things about what makes Alipay, Square, or aka Block, and Gcash all have in common. What are those commonalities? They're all basically striking the MSMEs. Basically, these are micro cap, medium, small businesses that are really the backbone of a strong economy, may it be Philippines, may it be China, or may it be the US. So in Globe's Business Academy, they actually have this resource on why Pinoy MSMEs are really the heroes of the Philippine economy. So Pinoy MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, actually, in terms of volume, accounts for 99% of all the businesses in the country. Nearly 1 million Filipino enterprises deliver goods to services and customers every day, whether it be a nail salon, a bartending restaurant, and so on. 90% of these are actually micro enterprises to which total assets are just less than 3 million pesos. 10% are small enterprises and 0.4% are medium enterprises. So kung napanood nyo yung story ni Kokoy sa Gcash Stories, basically nakita nyo paano ang isang bartender na wala ng trabaho during the pandemic, itinayo niya ang sarili niya. Etong ginagawa ng Globe, eto yung backbone ng Pilipinas, which are the MSMEs. And MSMEs generate 40% of the country's GDP. Hence, they're regarded as the backbone of the Philippine economy, accounting for employment, poverty reduction, almost all the reasons why the economy can grow and recover. So the importance of MSMEs cannot be understated. They are a major cog in the Philippine economy. They create jobs, they grow the economy, drivers of employment, entrepreneurship, for women, youth, groups, men, anyone actually in vulnerable situations. The largest reason is they give Filipinos total employment. So they're contributing about 1/3 of Philippines' total employment, generating about 4.9 million jobs in 2017 versus only 3 million for large corporations. These are thousands of families enjoying benefits of a regular paying job, earning and spending, and contributing back to the economy. Despite this, however, MSMEs still need support making BPOs more efficient, business process and operations more efficient and robust. MSMEs have low productivity than large enterprises. Because of that, they can only pay low wages and skilled labor. Now, Globe Businesses Bizmo is a business makeover web series. They're trying to rebuild MSMEs, whether it be cookies, cookie chip entrepreneurs. So this is one of the examples that they discussed. Expert makeovers for future-proof tomorrows with Globe Businesses Bizmo. We know that during the pandemic, the Philippines basically had lost around $80 billion in terms of tourism, and the food and hospitality sector was greatly affected. Of course, this is now rebounding, but companies like Globe, companies like Square, aka Block, we can even argue Shopify, the US, these are Shopify, Amazon, all of these are great, wonderful businesses. Alibaba, they've been helping companies and entrepreneurs basically bounce back. So on June 27, there's actually an MSME Day. It's important to understand how much these mom and pop shops, garage startups have an impact, not just on the Philippine economy, but actually we're talking about every economy here, whether it be Philippine economy, whether we're talking about like Mercado Pago, which is Mercado Libre, Meli, impacting the entire Latin American economy, Brazil, Argentina, and so forth. We're talking about like U.S. economy, like Square, how the impact of China's Alipay and WeChat Pay towards Chinese people, these are affecting billions of people's lives. So, as a platform, Gcash or Globe said, we're best served to reimagine solutions that best work for the consumer. You need to build a user base. It takes more than just having a digital banking license to do that. There is real work to be done in acquiring users, getting them to inhabit various use cases, and educating them into more complex financial services. Financial inclusion is of vital importance to Gcash. A few things. Obviously, in the Philippines, there are two important companies in the space. Main Financial, which is Gcash, Voyager Innovations, which is Maya. In terms of November 2022, we're talking about 73 million estimated revenue in dollars for Mint. That means that if they were transacting about $100 billion roughly, or about so 4 trillion pesos, right? 4 trillion pesos, you divide that in dollars, divided by 55, something like 80 billion dollars. Of course, you take only a percentage of that. So your revenues and then your profits. Your revenues, your gross profits, and all your fixed operating expenses. Now, Paymaya is focused on the local market, just as Mint is. They're both focused on the Philippines only so far. Philippines is focused on local market profitability, and they want to achieve that in the next 2 to 3 years. So they're expecting to be profitable by 2024. Paymaya has plans to expand in Asia Pacific, but not yet now. Wait lang. Um, Yeah, so Manny Pangilinan, which is the CEO of PLDT, CCO or chairman, something like that. So they will accomplish a trillion, they wish to accomplish 1 trillion of gross transaction value on both sides, merchants and consumers, so that they could be very close to EBITDA positive or even earlier. Okay. So far, private equity values Gcash at about $2 billion. They raised over $300 million on November 2, 2021. They raised the money through Warburg Pincus, led by global investment giant Warburg Pincus, with a round including Insight Partners, Bowwave Capital, Itay Chidon, Amplo Ventures, as well as capital from Globe and Ayala per se. So they're providing access to innovative financial services to more Filipinos. The managing director of Warburg Pincus says continued business commitment to the long-term prospect of Philippines as one of the fastest growing digital economies in the region. That is true. The Philippines is world-class when it comes to digital savviness. When it comes to accepting whether it be TikTok content creation or YouTube content creation, or in this case, savviness even on crypto, where actually the Philippines is one of the highest participant in all of these, as well as obviously digital payments. So they are leveraging their deep expertise in the fintech sector to support the long-term growth. Now, as I said, Paymaya is Voyager Innovations. This is their recent title. Said they are the #1 digital bank app in monthly active users. The only reason why they're #1 in the digital bank app is because, as I said, Gcash has opted not to use a digital bank license, instead to be a platform so that they can cross-sell and offer multiple products. Nonetheless, of course, Paymaya is, of course, the top two contender in the Philippines in terms of fintech, consumer fintech app. Voyager Innovations have raised $200 million on April 12, 2022, just a few months after So November 2021, it was Gcash, and then 6 months after, Paymaya, aka Maya, was able to get about $1.4 billion, raising $200 million. So both of them actually have money to spend. They're not no, it's not to say that we have to spend that money all the way, but obviously there are metrics and milestones that both have to achieve. So for Voyager Innovations, this was pretty much led by PLDT. You've got KKR, Tencent, IFC Emerging Asia, IFC Growth Funds. Paymaya said that so far they've got over 47 million registered users. And then they're also they've added crypto, micro investments, insurance products, digital wallet, online remittances, bill payments, etc. This is on top of their of July 2021, where Voyager also raised $167 million, making their total raise of about nearly $400 million for Voyager. $400 million is basically 20 billion pesos. So they have a lot of money basically. Tama ba? Yeah, roughly 400 times 55. Okay. So private equity valuations, Gcash today, 2 billion, Paymaya, 1.4 billion. A few things to understand. Yes, both of them are paying quite a huge interest in savings today. I think Maya is paying as much as 5 to 10%, depending on your tier. And then Gcash is paying as much as 2 to 3 to 6%, depending again on your tiers. So the interest in savings is actually a customer acquisition cost. As you heard from me a while ago, this guy raised $300 million. This guy just had about 167 and $210 million. They both have about $310 million. They could basically afford to use a portion of that private equity funding to basically acquire customers. That is what they call customer acquisition cost or CAC expense. Now, that is to acquire you so that they can expand other services and earn from you over the long term. So these are, of course, long-term games. It's not like a one-year game for Warburg Pincus. It's not a one-year game for KKR. Neither is it a 10-year game. This is total domination for perhaps digital transactions over the next decades ahead. We're not talking about just 10 years. I'm talking about maybe 30, 50, 100 years. I don't know. Even though I won't like be 100 years old and all, let's just say for the rest of my life, which is probably another 40, 50 years, we would be in a digital cashless society in our lifetime. Now, a few things to also understand. Of course, the most awaited IPO last 2 years is now getting a reboot. As of January this year, after Jack Ma gave up control of Ant Financial, the major OG, when I say OG, original gangsta, when it comes to financial tech, of course, started in China. Okay, so everyone was saying that Alipay was just a weak, inferior app compared to PayPal, because PayPal was, of course, started by Peter Thiel, Elon Musk in 1990s. Initially, I would say the Alipay was more like a small thing for Alibaba. And then, of course, it grew more and more. So what exactly happened for Ant Financial, at least the consumer finance, to finally get approval? So Ant Consumer actually had $1.5 billion. They were able to raise that for their consumer unit, signaling progress on a potential government ordered overhaul of the fintech giant. Okay, so you can actually try to watch this. This is a very good video about 2 years ago made by Wall Street Journal. What is Ant, the Chinese fintech giant with big IPO plans? It's about 6 minutes. A few things that come from that WSJ report. I'm gonna go to a few important things. So according to the data they released in 2020, in their now in their 2020 prospectus, which they were gonna offer IPO dapat, but hindi nangyari. Alipay was processing $15 to $17 trillion of transactions a year. That's equivalent to the entire European Union of payments. We're talking about trillions of dollars. MasterCard as a whole in the world, of course, like Visa, MasterCard, these are very, very huge. They are they're basically handling total payments volume turnover $6.5 trillion. The largest money market fund in that time, it was depends on the year. 2017, it was like UFO of Alipay. I think today, as of 2023, it's about JP Morgan. I'm not quite sure, but or is it Vanguard? Either way, the point is that they are still one of the largest money market fund providers in the world. Sorry, this is not largest. They are one of the. Let me correct this one. One of the. Okay, they're not the largest. One of the largest. Okay. So one of the largest money market funds in the world also belongs to Alipay's UFO. UFO means leftover balance or leftover treasures, which basically means that for any idle cash balance that you leave in the wallet, they also pay a small interest. As of the last, like I checked the recent data, they've been paying about 1.77% a year in the Alipay. Okay. So they're one of the largest money market funds in the world. So Alipay has gone into insurance and savings like money market. So ito yun, what is the interest rate of UFO? UFO is reported 1.7% as of Feb 14, 2023, coming from CIC data. Now, UFO in Mandarin is basically a money market fund launched in June 2013 by Alipay. So they were saying that it's not really, it's not just an investment tool for lazy people. The one thing that wowed the Chinese market when it was introduced was obviously the 1 yuan minimum deposit. Nowadays in the Philippines, you can just make a savings deposit for as little as 1 peso, 10 peso, 5 peso. Same thing for Cashapp. Like you can invest with fractional shares for as little as $1, $5, $10, and so on. Those are really game changers. Fractional share trading. This has been offered by Robinhood, by Cashapp, by IBKR. I mean, all of these innovations are wonderful for you, for a consumer like you, for us, basically, for consumers like us. So as you can see, this is something that initially was so new for Alipay. It was a product created for Chinese tech-savvy middle class that was highly overlooked by bank majors. And it was basically a banking product for the unbanked because you were just using your mobile, accessible 24/7. Basically, it just sits on your mobile wallet app. And then Ali turned all these online shopping users into individual investors, making saving for purchases on its platform a very sweet deal. So, for instance, this is also being done in Shopee Pay. C Limited's Shopee Pay is also being done in Grab Pay. Basically, if you buy anything let's say you're a merchant in Shopee or Lazada, if you'll notice, all these money that you receive, let's say I sell 100,000 pesos worth of Shopee products in C Limited. In Shopee Pay, you can actually use that either to purchase more products or to just use it as a savings account. So instead of like withdrawing it and going into like other banks, you can just store it there, similar to what Alipay did. So they've got partners, etc. So how do they basically make money? For Alibaba, it was really more of a e-commerce platform loyalty. So initially, Alibaba was really doing this for all of their users, so that all the substantial collection, whether it be to pay payroll and all that, actually they did this because they were able to launch a low cost financial platform to their existing user base because they didn't have a physical brick and mortar, right? So during that time, 2013, 2014, conversion cost is always below the high marketing acquisition cost of new users. So basically, you're not paying rental every month. So if you're wondering why couldn't the banks basically do what fintech apps like Alipay or Square's Cashapp or let's say even IBKR, why couldn't they do it, right? Because they are basically a mobile digital native platform. Right. So Gcash is a mobile digital native platform. You don't have like a Gcash bank there, or even a Maya bank physically. There's no such thing. Okay. So many critics have stressed that Yuepao was just gaming the Chinese non-free market interest rate regime by engaging in a financial arbitrage. Initial fund growth boom is over, true. However, Yuepao's interest rates, even if down, and the product is still popular. So actually, even at 1.7%, people are, basically it's still better than zero. So originally, the e-commerce is aspiring to scale up to a full-fledged financial product provider, going well beyond the Chinese borders. Now, a few things that I've always tried to say is that Alibaba's Ant Financial, as well as like WeChat's, Tencent's WeChat Pay, it's not just a payment platform. Basically, people are calling them super apps. Why? Because they cover everything. They cover consumer, finance tech, you book a taxi, you make a food delivery. This is the reason why Grab wants to be a super app. They want to basically copy WeChat. They want to copy Alipay, Alibaba, because, I mean, you are in everywhere, like health insurance, investment insurance. You book a ticket, you book a train ride, you pay your bills, everything. So Alibaba and Financial, whether the IP will come within a year, 2 years, who knows? But I think it's a hidden gem that you should be aware of. So a lot of Chinese basically use Alipay to order a cab, buy things. We're talking about a billion people here. So we're talking about a billion people ordering a cab, hailing a Didi choosing ride, or buying things from the buying things from LME app, Taobao, making a, or if they were using and there's actually a lot of synergy. Like in the past, if you were gonna order Meituan, I think it wasn't available in Alibaba, but now Alibaba and Tencent are working together as an ecosystem, which means that in the far future, I pretty much can see that Gcash and PayMaya are gonna integrate and work together to serve consumers like you and me. It's not as if like they would fight and fight and fight and make themselves exclusive. So it takes just 3 minutes on a mobile platform to get a loan with zero human intervention. So that's one of the things that really have impressed people in the basically the credit info and 8i credit history in Alipay's credit loans. Then in 2020, Eric Jing said that we believe that if we can enable ordinary people to enjoy the same financial services as any bank CEO, helping mom and pop shops obtain growth financing as easily as big firms, then we will be a company that belongs to the future. And really, I believe in our future, these companies are, of course, gonna survive, if not thrive, especially in a recession, guys, when a lot of companies are getting a hard time to get some cheap credit. Now, so one of the catalysts for Alibaba to also watch out for, as I said, was January. They got approval to expand their consumer finance business. So in this consumer finance business, what happened is Ant Financial will invest $9 billion, 9 billion renminbi for a 50% stake in Chongqing Consumer Finance Unit. So Chongqing Consumer Finance Unit is actually the bank that bears the risk of these loans, this highly lucrative consumer loan business. Now, you've got Hangzhou Finance Investment Group. They'll also invest 1.85 billion to become the second largest shareholder with a 10% stake. And then other investors in the deal include Nanyang Commercial Bank, Sunny Optical Tech, and Hangzhou-based Transfartillion Co. Limited. Okay? Ant has been restructuring their IPO after it was halted in 2020 to ensure market fairness. So a lot of the regulations was actually fixed so that they can serve they're not like so they of course gave your data, your credit scores, diba, ganon, to the government, so that if you are being given a loan, then you are legit, that you have this company, this business, or something like Kokoy. He opened his bike in CDO, coffee bike CDOs, right? CDO Cagayan de Oro. So, yun. Basically, you have to, of course, parang bank lang din, di ba? May KYC, nagbibigay ka pa rin ng mga detalye. Move will help company expand its consumer finance business, scale, and seek further growth. So, basically, similar to a bank, kaya ito, mas regulated tong part na to. So, offering credit to how many people? Millions of Chinese customers through a pair of lending services like Huapay and Tiepay. In the first 3 quarters 2020, consumer business of finance of Ant Financial stood at 3 billion with a net profit of about 386 million yuan. Okay, the consumer finance unit can handle 1.1 trillion yuan in loans once the fundraising is complete. So grabe, from 3 billion yuan after this consumer finance listing, they can handle 1 trillion yuan. Amazing. That would help for many Chinese folks. Now, if you're not Chinese, you probably think, wala yan. Who cares? I'm an American. I'm Filipino. Who cares? Well, I care because if I'm investing in Alibaba, I think this is a very, very important thing for you to know. The major revamp of Ant includes disconnecting their payment app Alipay from sister products like Huapay and Tipay, ending the monopoly on information collection about the privacy of data, improving managing liquidity risks for important fund products, reducing the balance of its money market fund, UEPAO, and this is a clear signal to support development of platform companies. And Ant's latest move is expected to inject vitality into the consumer finance industry of China. Basically, if you are a consumer entrepreneur in China, you want to get some loans, Alipay is there for you, or in this case, Chongqing Finance. It's just that, of course, Chongqing Finance is the one backing behind, but the front face is Alipay. This is similar, guys, to what Apple Pay is doing. In fact, the largest, I think the one that people are so afraid of is Apple Pay dominating for the world because Apple Pay is also starting to do all these buy now, pay later things. Okay, Gcash as a lending business, obviously is similar to Ant Financial because it's the same group. Gcash and Ant Financial, they come from the same tree, same. They work on a model basically matching up borrowers to lenders such as banks, and the company Gcash is not underwriting those loans. Instead, all of the risk goes to the bank. Okay? So sharing of data, of course, will erode Ant's edge, but doing so will allow them to obtain regulatory blessings. Why? If you're like making a housing loan or borrowing from the banks, it's not as if like the bank doesn't know who you are. It's not as if the bank doesn't know some of your like credit history, or if you want to apply for a certain loan, of course they would know where you work, etc. In my view, this means the intent is to allow Ant Financial to continue the business, but under regulatory purview and rules. If it wants to help the broader Consumer Credit Bureau agenda, it's important that Ant will continue to be dominant as a very large distributor given its user base of more than 1 billion, and it has now to share that data. So obviously, the CFO is now the CEO, Daniel Zhang. He knows the numbers. Okay, Yepao in 2018 has $158 billion in assets under management compared to 268 billion. So a lot of portion actually went into the consumer finance. No, in the past, Yepao was also called a blood-sucking vampire, said by some state TV, because customers are flocking to the fund because it was so easy to use. They were able to get better interest rates rather than their bank accounts offered. Around a third or more of China's population is now using it. This contrasts with JP Morgan's US government money market fund, which mostly serves institutional clients. Right now, a lot of banks are offering like 5% interest rates, 4%, 4.5% interest, but only if you are an Insti client, a minimum balance of $100,000 or more, etc. You're not serving the needs of these segments. And that segment is basically being targeted and handled by companies like Alibaba's Alipay and Financial, companies like Globe Telecom's Gcash, and companies like Square, aka Block. Okay, so yes, they will provide to the People's Bank of China those consumer credit data, just like if you would do the same with any bank, guys. It's the same. Now, digital money over hard cash, yes, I believe in this. Alibaba and Tencent are the two main providers of mobile payments in the country, with their platforms WeChat Pay and Alipay. High penetration rate of mobile phones and the popularity of shopping online have aided the popularization and adoption of mobile payments. This is true Philippines, US, and China. So even a lot of Latin American, I think it's all over the world. Now, for Visa, a few things to, some facts. I really love facts and stuff. Visa is the largest of its kind when it comes to processing payment processing. So just the same, whenever you swipe those credit cards, Visa will never take any risk if you do not pay that Visa card. The risk goes to the bank that had that Visa. So let's say it's a BDO Visa card. So you owe the money with BDO, not with Visa. So as the world moves to a cashless society, Visa's process payment volume will continue to grow, giving it the opportunity to expand over the next 6 years, 10 years, etc. So far, Visa is about 31 times PE. I think that we can probably try to haggle it for about 25 times or 20 times multiple if we get lucky. But yeah, these are some of the great businesses that I want to cover. I do want to discuss a lot about powering your business with Square. Millions of brands have trusted them. Who is Square? Who is Block? Basically, Block. The reason why they had to change their name from Square to Block is because they've done a lot. So when it comes to helping sellers or merchants, entrepreneurs to run and easily grow their business, you've got Square, basically e-commerce solution, business software, bank services. Then if you want to redefine your relationship with stocks, money, etc., crypto, you do it with Cash App. Spiral is basically for projects that's basically advancing the use of Bitcoin as a tool for economic empowerment, so mostly Bitcoin lightning transactions. Tidal is for musicians, content creators, basically allowing them to succeed as entrepreneurs. So the blog is actually something I'd like to discuss. Do I have time? I have slides on both of these actually. I'm not sure if I have time. Sorry, it's 5 p.m., but I will be discussing, guys, very interesting companies such as Square. I'll explain why Square is an ecosystem of ecosystems, why there's a lot to unpack here. But in a nutshell, a few things. Okay, let's go through some really, really interesting slides. In just the seller merchant business, Square represents already a 120 billion. This is not just revenues. This is a gross profit opportunity in integrated payments. So they're just like hitting what? Square is just hitting about $1 billion so far, 2 billion, 3 billion. Their gross profit can actually grow a lot. There's a lot to really understand when it comes to mid-market segments, MSMEs, the addressable opportunity of the SMB, small businesses, micro, they haven't even touched a lot. So there's really a ton, no? You can consider like studying Square and studying Gcash and studying Alipay. They're all homogenous businesses. So there's a lot to really unpack here. The addressable market over time of Square has been growing in terms of gross profits ability, same as for Cash App. Few things to understand. A lot of people ask me, is there a 10x opportunity in the Philippines? Is there a 10x opportunity in the US, in China? Now, I'm not saying that these will eventually be 10x names, but I do have to say that I like what I'm seeing. I really like what's happening in Globe, in Square, and Alibaba. The metrics that have to grow are growing. The transaction dollars, the ecosystems, opportunities to grow are there. And they're not just opportunities. We can see that, let's sample. A few things that I tweeted. I tweeted that in the Philippines, Ernest Koo, did I tweet it here? I did, right? You guys still there? Yeah, I tweeted it, guys. Yeah. So the Globe Telecom or Gcash is opening the floodgates to Philippine equity trading. Pretty sure so far they will also introduce global market trading. That means that you can buy your Tesla, your Apple, your Google, fractional shares, etc. Hopefully someday. That would democratize stock trading, not just in the Philippines, but it's wonderful if they open up, like if they partner with something like Interactive Brokers, or they partner with Vanguard, or they partner with Charles Schwab, or they partner with JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. I don't care who their partners are. The point is they're giving Filipinos access towards the world markets. I mean, because right now I have to open my own IBKR account. I have to open my own eToro account. I have to open these. Some people are opening their Charles Schwab. They open accounts with HSBC, JP Morgan, etc. Wouldn't it be nice if your Philippine app can actually do that for you? I mean, yeah, and Globe is actually doing that for like 70 million users. You don't need to open a call app. You don't need to open a WealthSec app. You can just, trade inside Gcash if you wish. So every time they said that they put a service in Gcash, it outperforms their expectations. So watch out. Also, the consumer lending today in Gcash business, I think it's 40 billion pesos. They are going uncharted waters. It's never been done before. Maybe they can grow their G loans, G credit services to maybe 100 billion pesos or more. They could be as big as BDO one day. Who knows, guys? Who knows? Big upsides in Globe, big upsides in PL. Actually, guys, big upsides as well in PLDT. I'm not saying it's just Gcash. No, I believe in both. I believe in both. I believe in financial economies. I believe in financial inclusions. I believe that MSMEs, banks, fintechs, they all work together. They all work together. I don't believe like, because Gcash is here, BDO is not going to exist. No, that's not true. Just because Square is here, JP Morgan is not going to exist. No, that isn't true. But it's allowing more and more people to get the same access as a CEO of a bank and as a mom and pop store. And that is very, very important. Making a difference in the lives, not just of the very rich customers, but in many customers' lives. The stories of Kokoy, those are very, very important, guys. Now, I usually don't want to talk about secular trend winners, but when I talk about secular trend winners, I'm talking about like, I'm not talking about the next 10 days or 10 months, not even that. We're talking really about, hey, which companies do you think are really, really going to be wonderful in the next decade or 2 decades or 3 decades? And now I could be wrong in many things, but it's very important to check, what makes the ecosystems great. Like what makes Alipay very wonderful. Our digital payment services have been critical to us in attracting a large number of users, high activity levels and engagement on our platform, providing us with consumer insights, and our partner financial institutions serving them in new ways. Because your mobile phone is so important, of course, a hacker can also hack you, and that's, of course, a very, very dangerous thing for you to happen. The ability for them to know what you're spending upon. So this is like in Alipay. You've got a personalized dashboard. They know if you are shopping online, getting food delivery, your utility bills, etc. These data points are giving them access such that they only have 1.5% of delinquency rate in terms of credit. That's wonderful. And, data is going to be very huge, big data. But I think, these are basically applications of artificial intelligence. That's why they can give you an easy loan in 3 minutes or less. Would love to actually discuss a lot more about these three, but for now, part 1 ends now. Let's talk tomorrow. Let's discuss more intently Block and Alipay. But definitely, these three are, and a number. Let's not talk about just these three. A number of payment platforms, guys, are very, very important. Yung mga scam messages, it's happening in all telecoms. It's happening in all because your data. Ingat lang sa mga data. Marami talagang scammer sa mundo. What I'm talking about here is the business model of these companies. Whether it be Square's Cashapp, ang daming revenue and gross profits niyan. So, I think that any Filipino should understand the floodgates that would be happening in terms of consumer loans, consumer finance, consumer equity trading, whether it be Philippine stocks or global stocks, hopefully global markets, not just crypto investments. Okay then, allowing basically your like Coins.ph allows you to buy stocks like BTCs, Ethereum, etc. easily in one app. So they're basically striving to be super apps, guys. It's the same mission that Grab wants to be. It's the same mission that Shopee wants to be. C Limited, CPay. Whoever wins in the end, they all win. Sure, that's possible. In the end, I think that they're all supposed to be in your watch list. That's just me. Okay? So whether you're, this opened your eyes na, oh, laki pala yung business ni Alipay. Oh, ganito pala kalaki yung business ni Gcash. That's all. Okay? Bye-bye.